Corner Suites began making high-quality office furniture in January. The company's executive desks are produced in two departments, cutting and finishing. Component kits are produced in the cutting department and then transferred to the finishing department for trimming and assembly. During the first month of operations, the cutting department started 18,000 executive desk kits. January direct material cost in the cutting department totaled 936,000 and conversion cost totaled $662,400. Ending inventory on January 31 consisted of 6,000 partially processed component kits. These units were 100% complete with respect to direct materials, but only 30% complete with respect to conversion. Compute the number of component kits transferred from cutting to finishing. All right. So, how many of our units in the cutting department moved to the finishing department? Well, it says that we started 18,000 units in January. This is its first months of operation, so we don't have any beginning with, but we started 18,000 units. So we have those 18,000. But then those 18,000 didn't get fully finished because it says we have 6,000 partially processed units at the end of the month. So we need to subtract those 6,000 units that we didn't finish out. And that gives us 12,000 units that were transferred to finished goods. So this is transferred to finished goods. 12,000 units. The next question is, compute the equivalent units of input resources for the cutting department in January. All right. So the cutting department has direct materials and conversion cost. All right. So let's set this up, I think, kind of like that. Let's do direct materials and conversion. So here in the beginning, how many units do we have in each? 0, right? Because we, the company began making furniture in January, and this is for January. So we don't have any beginning WIP we have to worry with. How many units did we start and finish this month? Well, 12,000 units. So 12,000 units started and finished, good to go. So then our ending WIP is going to be these 6,000 units, right? 6,000 partially completed units. With respect to direct materials, so this is times 100%, so we're going to get 6,000 units. But when it comes to conversion, it says only 30%, right? So 0.3. So that's going to give me 1,800. All right, so this is 18,000. But then on the conversion side, it's 13,800. And so these are equivalent units, right? For direct materials versus for conversion. The problem then says compute the cost per equivalent unit for the input resources. And so we have $936,000 on the direct materials side divided by the 18,000. And we have 662,400 divided by the 13,800 equivalent units on the conversion side. So let's do that math. 936,000 divided by the 18,000 equivalent units gives me $52 per equivalent unit or per per unit for direct materials, and $662,400 divided by the 13,800 equivalent units gives me $48 per unit on the conversion side. If we were wanting to combine these together and look at like total cost for equivalent units out of the cutting department, what I think we should probably do is say we have, I guess this would just be for the cost of just, I was thinking of it just from the WIP perspective. So if we were just interested in the total cost per the WIP for the work in process at the end, well, we'd say, okay, we have 6,000. So this is cost of ending work in process. We'd say that we have 6,000 units times the $52 a piece, and we have 18. Oh, that's pretty terrible. Let's see if I can do better than that. 1,800 units times the $48 a piece. So let's do that math. 6,000 times 52 is 320, and 1,800 times the 48 is 86,400. 312 plus 86,400 gives me 398,400. This is total cost of ending WIP. So the problem really kind of ended here, right? Like, so this is A, right? Then this is B, and this is C. But if we were interested in total cost, then 39,800 total cost of the WIP, right? Just focusing on that, this ending WIP piece, because this is kind of the piece that's in flux, if you will. 398,400.